Hey everybody, Alex here with Momentum Charting. Today we are going to be doing the post-weekend, the Monday update on the SPY, the proxy for the S&P. But before we do that, guys, go ahead and please jump down below. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss a single update this entire week that I do on the S&P. I'm going to try to do an update video for you every single day. So in order to make sure you do not miss any of the content, jump down below. Subscribe to the channel. Guys, thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for watching the video. I hope everybody, despite the pretty rough and rocky day in the market today, is having a good day. So yeah, guys, so we saw kind of over the period late Sunday night, early Monday morning is really when the fears of the issues with the Chinese real estate market kind of started creeping into the market. And for a while on Sunday night, futures were green, but it wasn't until a bit later that things started to get a little bit hairy on Sunday night. And then kind of panic ensued in some of the overseas markets, spread throughout China, obviously, and then that hit the U.S. in a big way this first thing this morning. But obviously the day today, you know, the way I always see markets, guys, to me, the technicals always lead the news. It's always been that way. You know, you can go back. It's just funny how some of these things work out. I don't really understand exactly how the markets predict this sort of stuff, this sort of panic in advance, but it tends to work out that way. And we can get into that topic another day. But to me, it's always about the technicals leading the news cycle, not the other way around. And yeah, this is basically more or less the type of day, really, that we were expecting here to have happen. I was expecting a pretty bearish day today, Monday. You can go back and watch my video that I came out with on Saturday afternoon, kind of detailing my thoughts on what I thought, on what I believed was going to happen here on Monday and Tuesday this week. And yeah, it's pretty much no real surprise to me as far as what happened to me. The extent of this pullback was pretty brutal. Usually the last few cycles, when you start getting these big pullbacks, you know, there will be some big green action, some big buyers coming in right towards the beginning of the day to kind of squelch the sell-off. And that just didn't happen, at least during the beginning parts of the day. As the entirety of the day, the markets just continued the brutal sell-off throughout the entirety of the day, right? And it was kind of interesting. Right at the end of the day there is when we kind of got this big buyback in markets. But I believe, honestly, guys, I personally do not believe that this correction is done yet, okay? I think that what happened here at the end of the day today, and also on the overnight futures are also up pretty big, to the tune of about a little bit over 0.5%, about 0.57% right now in the S&P overnight futures. But I do believe, guys, this rally off this bottom here has just been intense, right? Let's see exactly what it's been. It's just been huge. At the peak, it was almost 2%, 1.88%. Right now, we're sitting at about 1.7%. So this is a really big move off the bottom, especially in such a bearish environment. But I believe, guys, the way that this worked out, the fact that no buyers were coming in first thing in the morning, and this sell-off continued the entirety of the day. I believe, honestly, that what we have had develop here, to me, is pretty clearly, I don't want to say clearly 100%, but I just believe that what we have here, guys, is nothing more than a dead cat bounce, okay? And I think what's going to happen here, you guys can see on this chart here, I am, I'm on the DRSI chart here on a 30-minute time frame. And I think that what's basically happened here is price action just got so far away from this cluster of very important moving averages, right? And for all intents and purposes, the price action always likes to operate around these crucial moving average cluster, the 50, the 200, the 250, the 125, all those right there. And especially on a lower time frame, like a 30-minute time frame. So we just got really carried away and pushed really far away from those. I am not a believer for 1 second, guys, that this correction is over right now. And I'll show you what I think is going to happen, but let's just give the market the benefit of the doubt here and say that, okay, so these overnights are going to hold here at around these levels, around 437, which I'm not so certain that that's going to necessarily happen. So let's just put somewhere right around here, about 437.70, something like that. So if markets were to open tomorrow in this area, that would put us really starting to come closely right here, right, with this confluence of moving averages that's just pushing in a vertical manner to the downside. So I just do not believe, guys, that we are done yet with this correction. The way that the selling was so intense throughout the day here, I'm not a believer. I know a lot of people are excited about this rally in aftermarkets, the rally at the end of the day. But guys, I think we do have more downside to go on this correction. Obviously, our 30-minute important line of overhead resistance that we've had on the chart since the 7th of September, still very much intact, still very much in place. At some point here, guys, we're going to be getting a rally up into this area. I don't think we're quite ready for that yet, and we're going to want to watch for structure and a breakout of this important line of overhead resistance when we get to that point, which definitely at some point we will, but I don't think that's necessarily in the cards right away. What I think is going to happen here is, this DRSI, which hit a low of 10 today, well, very, very low on a 30-minute time frame, all the way down to 10. I think that what's going to happen, and you guys can see it, the last 2 ticks of this DRSI, the last part of the day, coming up to the upside. So yeah, the very last tick of the day was not, doesn't show here, obviously. So let's just say the DRSI right now is currently sitting at around 27 approximately on this last candle. I think that's what's going to happen is either one of 2 things. I think if markets do stay at these levels on the overnights, and I don't think we're going to go much above this level here that we already hit already, around 438. I mean, it's you can see just on a very, very minute time frame, we've broken to the downside of this trend line. I guess it's possible we come up here and test maybe this overhead line of resistance around 4394. I've kind of got that other line there as an overhead resistance mark. I just don't know if we're going to go back up there, but if we do, if we somehow bounce off this 125, we bounce off this 50 moving average, and pull back above this 200, I think it's possible. We come up here and hit this. You guys can see this right here, the 200 EMA still kind of pointing down, and we just that's right now in the futures just kind of acted as an overhead resistance, and you can see we're pushing down from there. So I don't know if we are really going to get that much above this tonight. I think what's going to happen, maybe, I think best case for the bulls, if they're trying to get out of their positions, their long positions right now, maybe some gains towards the end of the day, some gains in the futures overnight. They're going to want to hope and pray that this thing does not roll back to the downside in the overnights, but I'm not so sure, guys, that that's not going to happen. Again, going back to the chart on the 30-minute time frame here, this thing could certainly say, again, we're here around, what did I say, around 26, 27 on the DRSI. Certainly what could happen when markets open tomorrow, say we were all the way up here, is just a sharp pullback to the downside. If we were to open up red in the morning, and the futures were to go from green to red, this is kind of what we would look like. And if we were to open up kind of where we are at right now, around what did I say? yeah, around 43.80, approximately in that area, what would happen? Just maybe, I think, kind of a flat line type deal, maybe for a couple hours in the morning, and then eventually we would just get this DRSI to roll back to the downside, which would take us prices for one more leg lower. And I do believe right now, kind of focused on this thing day to day, guys. Big picture right now, obviously, you're going to want to be very, very cautious, very, very careful with any long positions in the market, especially those that involve leverage, especially those that involve time decay. You're going to kind of want to watch this thing on a day-to-day basis to see how this shapes out. But to me, yeah, as far as short-term positions, short-term day trading positions, anything long in the market, bulls, we are going to want to be very, very cautious and very, very careful. I think, again, what's going to happen, this thing eventually, either tonight or in the morning for after the first couple of hours, I don't know how much above these levels we're going to get. Maybe it's trying to form some sort of channel in here, something like that, which will be interesting to watch. But I believe what's going to happen is we are going to get one final leg lower, one final push lower in off this, and it's going to be to the degree of approximately what we've had happen here from around 44.64, so the entirety of this downtrend here. So let's just try to play that out kind of and see where that might bring us. Let's say that we'll give the market the benefit of the doubt. I don't know if it's going to get up to these levels, but let's say it did, around 43.94. And then just taking this down, let's see where that would take us. Yeah, so somewhere possibly around 4238, so 423-ish, 424-ish on the SPY. And I think that I do believe we're going to get that one final leg here at a minimum, guys. And I don't know if it's going to stop at 423. I don't know if it's going to get to 423. But I think we're going to get, I really believe we're going to get one more violent push to the downside. And I'm going to be definitely watching these areas down here between 423 maybe and 420 for a potential move back to the upside, okay? And then we'll be looking for some areas of support, some areas of overhead resistance once if and when that does happen on the overnight chart, guys, okay? So long story short, bulls, we need to be very, very cautious with our short-term trading positions. So I believe that this bearish move, I see absolutely no reason whatsoever yet that this isn't just some sort of dead cat bounce, sort of a quick buyback in the market, sort of a, what do they call it, like an algorithm, a market algorithm timing scenario, something like that. Probably hit some sort of Fibonacci level or something here. I don't use that all that stuff that often, but I know it exists. I know it's important to a certain extent, the algos in the market that make markets act like they do, right? Buying and selling and making markets confusing as hell for everybody, right? That's what they do. But again, I don't believe that this panic sell-off is over yet. I think over the next couple of days, we're going to be getting at least one leg lower, targeting maybe around, like I said, around 420 to 423 in the short term there in the SPY. After that, we're going to have to watch everything and see potentially where a leg to the upside could carry us. Going to be watching obviously some important levels that we've established here. This level of overhead resistance on a 30-minute time frame. Lastly, let's just go over here to the chart of the VIX. Let's see. So this is just kind of interesting here. We can see on the chart of the VIX here, there's been no, I'm on a 2-hour time frame here. There's been no indication really yet here of a breakdown from this trend. I mean, heck, we haven't even had really a red candle in place on a 2-hour time frame. Certainly, there's been no breakdown of this kind of short-term trend here. from these candles here on September 20th. So early first thing this morning and throughout the day here. Been no indication yet of a breakdown of this trend that's been pushing slowly to the upside. So, and let's go to also to the 30-minute time frame. I wanted to take a quick look at this on the DRSI. You guys can see came all the way up here. This is a very, very extended level for the DRSI up here at 90. So just kind of having some sort of, to me, it looks like a reset pullback. Didn't push back up off those levels today, but that's fine. I think probably what's going to happen here, again, in line with my expectations for the next leg lower, kind of got this trend line in place here, connecting these points on 15th September at 13, let's see, at 13:10, and 16th of September at 12:10, and then carrying up here, I've got sort of a short-term line of what looks like a confluence of supports to me. So I think what's probably going to happen here, guys, somehow in some fashion, that we're going to find support here on this DRSI, and it's going to break this line of overhead resistance that's in place now. And when that happens, we can count on this next move to the upside on this DRSI to be fairly strong. You know, we've got this, again, this trend line in place, DRSI breaking the overhead line as resistance. That would signal to me a continuation of that entirety of this pattern that's been in place here, which would lead to a push higher, up higher, obviously, in the volatility index, and constituting our next leg to the downside in the SPY. And yeah, to me, to clear all this bearishness out, what's going to need to have happen, we come up here, maybe test this line of overhead resistance, get rejected, and break down through this line of support right here with the VIX right now sitting right at around 52, 51, 52 on the DRSI. So guys, I'll update all that stuff for you in tomorrow's update. Until then, everyone, yeah, just take care of yourselves, take care of your positions, watch this very, very interesting market. Let's see how this develops. I'm not sure if this is going to lead to bigger panics in the market. We just want to be really cautious on everything that's developing here with U.S. markets, international markets, all that sort of stuff, guys. Let's just be cautious and do the best we can to kind of navigate this period of increased volatility over the next couple weeks, potentially through the end of October, okay? Thanks so much, guys. And yeah, if you haven't yet done so, make sure you jump down below, subscribe to the channel. Be looking forward to the update tomorrow for you guys. Thank you, and have a nice night. I will see everybody again soon. Bye for now.